Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am excited that it is Friday, and as usual, I'm just doing a little adjusting here. Whew, I've been out at a meeting, and so I'm rushing to get to you. It's Friday, time for New Day, New Word, and I am Marcia Grace, your modern meditation mentor. And today our letter is K, and I am really thrilled that today I'm going to have a guest for us. I hope so. I'm waiting for her to show up on my screen here. But I did hear that there was another horrible incident. I don't know anything about it. I was at a meeting all morning, so I just heard about it from my guest, as a matter of fact, who just mentioned it very briefly. So I think today's word actually is going to fit in very well with in our discussion. So, hey, David, how wonderful! Glad you're here. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to tell all of you what our word is today. The word is the letter K. We're up to K, and the word is karma. Karma. So I think karma has become part of our language for most people. I think we're very familiar with it. But just in case you're not, or you're not quite sure, karma actually comes from the Sanskrit, and it means doing or work. And I will read you from my veritable tome here, my Webster's dictionary, which I love. Gives really in-depth discussions of words. And it says, let me put on my glasses here. It says that karma is the force generated by a person's actions that is held in Hinduism and Buddhism to be the motive power for the round of rebirths and deaths endured by him until he has achieved spiritual liberation and freed himself from the effects of such force, this round or cycle of lives and deaths. So that's what karma means, technically speaking. And I guess apropos of what just happened and all the other numerous horrific experiences that have occurred or do tend to occur in this world that we appear to be living in. Of course, from A Course in Miracles perspective, we would call this the illusion. And the illusion is an illusion because we make it up as we go along. That's what the Course says. We make it up. And that may be hard for some of us to grasp, but I think on an intellectual level, I think we can understand that when we say we make it up, we have ideas and thoughts in our minds, which we're not even aware of. And so because we're not even aware of them, we don't realize that they affect everything that we do and say. So as a result, when we go and live our day, we're going to interact with people in a particular way based on how these thoughts and ideas that exist deep down in the center of our consciousness. And so we are going to act in certain ways because of that. And as a result, we are influencing the way this world is and appears to be. So in that sense, I think we can understand how we say we make it up. Because if you changed your mind about what you were doing, then you would act in a different way, perhaps, right? I was just at a meeting this morning of a group called the Multicultural Solidarity, and here in my town of Brookhaven on beautiful Long Island, where it's a lovely, warm day. And I'm so thankful for that because we've had a cold winter. And anyway, we were talking about how people think about integration and segregation, and how we think about the way we live in our communities, and how it seems like, somehow the people that we're not familiar with or don't look like us live over somewhere else. And as a result, we kind of don't really know much about them, and we don't want to know much about them for the most part. And there's something very wrong with that picture, because we're excluding other parts of the human race that are our brothers and sisters. So that's my say on it anyway. But I'm getting off the track here of our discussion of karma. And, my guest is here. Melissa, there you are. So I would like to ask you to come on. So let's see if I can get you to come on, Melissa. I don't know. I'm tapping you, but nothing is happening. Well, all right. So I'm not seeing what I bring them on. I don't know. See, yours is not saying. Melissa, are you on your cell phone? I hope you're on your cell phone, because that's the only way we can connect. But if not, I'm just going to introduce you briefly. Melissa Black is the person who has given me the word karma today for us to talk about. And I met her at a women's business meeting. And she is a lovely young woman who teaches. I was so excited to hear this. She teaches among other things, but she teaches little kids, little tiny ones, yoga. And I think that's so great, because the earlier that we can teach our kids such a beautiful tradition, because yoga is a tradition. It's not just exercises or stretches. It's a whole concept and a whole way of living life in a more holistic way. So to start young, that's my firm belief. We need, if we want to do something about integration or make integration happen, then we have to start the younger the better. It has to happen in our schools. I'm a firm believer in that. It's really hard to chip away at adults' preconceived notions. As adults, it's very hard. We know this, right? Don't we all know this? We all want to do the right thing. We all want to be the best people we can be. And yet we can bump up against our old habits, our old belief systems that probably we got from our childhood. And we're not, again, as I said before, we're not even aware that they are there. Melissa, I'm sorry. I cannot seem to get you on. I see you're here, but I do not see how I can invite you. I'm sorry. We should have tried to check this before. All right, so I don't know what Melissa was going to say about karma, but I thank you very much for offering the word, because I think it's perfect for today. Because those people who did whatever it is they did, or those of us who continue to do the things that we do, will reap the results of that. And the reason that'll happen is purely psychological, if nothing else. I mean, we don't have to go into religion to figure that out, because what goes around comes around, in the sense that when you put something out there, whatever it is, let's say positive or negative, if you do a loving act, how does that make you feel? Right? There's a warmth. There's an expansion. There's a sense of community, of joining that you experience when you do a loving act. And so what happens is you send that loving act out there. It's going, like the ripples in a pond, it's going to affect the environment that you're existing in. And so as a result, that's going to come right back to you. And you will benefit from that, from your own actions. And the same thing goes with the negative, right? If you are afraid, if you have fear, if you have doubts in your mind about people, or some kind of a sense of concern, those ripples are gonna go out, and they're gonna come back, and that's just the way it goes, because your energy, your mental process is so powerful. We have no idea how powerful our thoughts are. So I'm going to get on my soapbox again, as I always do, because being the meditation mentor, that's where the answers are. The answers are in our deepest self, when we get in touch with that deepest self, which is, for me, the point of meditation. Meditation is not to clear your mind. It's not to go into some, zone of wherever. I mean, you may do that 10 years down the road or something, or, I don't know. But for me, the purpose of meditation is to be in touch with yourself, to get to know what's going on in my mind. What am I thinking? Because until we know what we're thinking, we can't change it. We can't say, oh my gosh, I don't want to think that. That's not helpful. That's not loving. That's not making me have a better life. And so I'd like to see something change. And as a result, when we really truly want that, when we are willing to allow ourselves to experience a change, a shift in our perception, as I like to say, then what happens is we get guidance, because that, again, that's the secret sauce that exists in the midst of meditation, is that ability to hear that internal guidance that each and every one of us has. We all have this within us, but we're not going to hear it if we don't allow ourselves to get still. And again, I don't mean you have to clear your mind, but you get to a point where you're open, where your mind is open, where you sit down and you say, okay, I'm open. Let me hear what you have to tell me. And that's what the purpose of meditation is for me. And that's how I teach it. So again, getting back to karma, we are what we sow what we reap. I mean, we reap what we sow. We sow what we reap. But it's all going to come around, right? It's going to come right back. And so, I think I have a personal situation where someone very close to me is very negative at the moment about certain things in his or her life, I won't mention. And as a result, what I see happening, and when you love somebody, you want to be helpful. You want to make suggestions. You want to shake them and say, "Stop that." You want to do stuff. But what I find is interesting is that when you just become an observer and you watch these people around you and you see what they're doing, it brings it back to yourself. I see that and I say, okay, what is there in that person that's there to teach me something about me? Do I do this? And the answer is yes, you do. But of course, you're not aware of it. So that's why you're seeing it out there. You're seeing it in the other person, not so that you could correct them, not so that you can show them the right way, but so that you can learn how to live a more peaceful, joyful life. And wow, when you get that, your whole life becomes different. Oh, wait a second now. Have I got you now? How do I get you? It says you want to come on, and oh, darn. It disappeared, Melissa. Okay. Well, so when you make that decision to see another way to be in the world where you can be peaceful, not because of what you're seeing, not because you want to change somebody else, but because you truly see within yourself the ability and the need to make a shift, to come to a new understanding of what your purpose is. So for me, and karma, as I read in the book, karma comes at a time, or comes to show us how we can do this, how we can notice what we're doing in our life, become cognizant, and without guilt, without a sense of, oh, why did I do this, or I shouldn't have done that, or, and then, because exactly as soon as you do that, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is it's going to go underground. You're going to block it out. You're going to pretend like, oh, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. And then you're not going to deal with it. And it remains there. It doesn't go anywhere. You can't fix it. So it takes a great deal of courage, what I call spiritual muscles, to notice the things that we're doing or have done in the past that were harmful to ourselves or to someone else, to own it, just like they do in the 12 steps. They say, let me do an inventory and find out who I've hurt, so that I can ask for forgiveness. And of course, I can go on forever about that. Forgiveness is a whole other topic, but we've been on that one before. However, so just wrapping up now, and again, I thank Melissa. Sorry we couldn't get you on, maybe another time. But again, the karma is a wonderful word to think of and to understand the concept, so that you can have the benefit for yourself, your own personal growth, to expand your consciousness, to be responsible for your thoughts, to see them, and without guilt and without self-recrimination, simply allow yourself to say, how can I change? How can I do something differently so that I can be the loving human being I was meant to be? So on that note, I wish you all a blessed day. Thank you all. And until next week, bye-bye.